One of the primary things that we do is to provide relief from physical needs, hunger, having no place, no shelter, needing clothing at times, and being in vulnerable positions where they're at risk.
People come in hurting a great deal for various reasons, some that they brought on to themselves, but not always that, being in difficult circumstances, losing jobs, those kinds of things. And to see that many of them do really well here, we get them back on their feet, so to speak, get them stable. They respond well if they're really sincere about wanting to move ahead in their lives. And we've seen some real success.
I think it's very important because we are the Gospel Rescue Mission. That is our first important goal, is to share the gospel with these precious people. They've maybe heard it all their life or not at all. And we want to make sure that they have every opportunity to know that there's the hope we have, which is in Jesus Christ.
So many missions now are having to apply for funds, maybe grants and some kind of help with the government. And they're kind of putting aside the gospel.
Without the gospel, nobody can really change their lives. So if they learn what it is that God is expecting of them, what it is that God has done for them, then they can begin to change. But they can't change much without the gospel. And I haven't seen very many successes where the gospel is ignored.
I start off with morning chapels for both the men and the women. And so that's exciting to get in God's Word with them. And they respond real well for the most part. I try to engage them in terms of asking a lot of questions, as well as presenting the gospel and other biblical material to try to address where they are and where they need to be, and a lot of times to address their brokenness and show that really Christ is the answer to that brokenness.
The rules help people to set aside issues that have dominated their lives and now to focus on in areas that, where they can make improvements.
And I know that it's difficult to quit smoking, so I'm asking them to do something hard. I'm asking them to do something difficult, but it's not something that's impossible. And I'm willing to give them all of the help that they need, all the support that they need to accomplish that task.
The bottom line is, I always ask the girls, I said, you know, if you had your own house or when you had your own place, I mean, who would cook for you? Who would clean? Who would, you know, take care of the children or change their, you know, diapers? Who would do all those things? And they think about it, it's like, well, I guess I would.
One of the challenges we have is when we have to ask someone to leave because they're just not working out here. They're not doing what our minimal expectations for the most part. And if it's a woman, for example, who's pregnant, has maybe another child, we're not just going to throw them out on the street. But we work very hard at trying to find some alternative if they really cannot stay here. And there are times when it's not best for the mission, for the other residents, even for themselves, that they remain here. But we're certainly going to show the compassion of Christ and not just boot them out. In terms of the mission and relationship to the churches, I think that's extremely vital and it needs to be strengthened. We're glad we have a lot of contact with the churches, but the goal is very clear in my mind, is that our residents have a home church, become vitally involved in that church, so when they leave the mission, that doesn't change for them. They have their home church. That is what really needs to be their support base and their source of stability when they make this transition from the mission back into the community.
We've always focused on men and then women in missions, but we kind of neglected the children. And these kids are in desperate need of healing in their lives and a sense of security because they've been out there with their moms or dads in places that they really can't grow as human beings. And they need God as much as any grown man or woman. So I'd like to see us focusing on children this year.
This mission needs to continue to exist because homeless people will be amongst us. The poor will always be with us for now until the time Christ returns. And if this mission doesn't exist, then they're still going to be out there. They're just going to be in people's backyards. They're going to be in people's doorsteps. They're going to be in the entries to people's businesses and stuff. And here we're providing them structure, we're providing them health. The call to the gospel to love your neighbor as yourself. This gives us the opportunity to exercise, how do I work out my Christian faith? It happens here at the Gospel Rescue Mission.